What's up guys, welcome back to another SP Vids video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about the pattern sequencer. Now a few of you have requested this because of the conversations that I've been bringing up on my channel over the last couple of days. So I'm going to sit down with you, have commentary and make a beat using the pattern sequencer. It was really cool actually because I looked to see if I had any backup saves on my SD card and I actually had 3 slots saved. So started looking through those old beats. One of them was my first ever EP that I dropped, which was just crazy listening to those old beats and how I put them together on the SP. Surprisingly used resample for a lot of them, which I didn't actually know. So yeah, there were a few beats in there already with the samples and drums ready to go that obviously have never left my SP. And I thought what I could do is use the pattern sequencer to put one of these together. So that's the plan for today's video. I'll talk you through exactly the steps that I'm going to do. And hopefully it gives you an insight into the workflow that I've been doing at the moment. If you tuned in yesterday, huge thanks to you all for the comments, the likes, etc. because it actually really helped my video. I saw a massive difference in the amount of traffic and I got a lot of new subscribers yesterday. So if you can continue to like the videos if you do like the content, and if you want to leave a comment, even if it's just saying you enjoyed the video or if you've got a question, feel free to do that below as well. It helps me out hugely and yeah, it seems to be helping the algorithms. So a huge thanks to you all for doing that, and welcome to all the new subscribers as well. It was a busy day yesterday for new subs. Okay, let's get into this one. Let's get to the SP and start doing some pattern sequencing. Right guys, so here we are at the sp404sx and I've got my beat in bank E here, so there's loads of little beats in here which I've forgotten about. Some guitar stuff, some jazz kind of vocal stuff, weirdness in that one. Quite like the tones in that one, but this is the one that I'm going to work with. So something a bit different. And what I've done for this one is, because I was only going to do a simple kick pattern on this one, I've actually resampled a subsonic note and the kick onto one pad, so I've got this noise. So that's like a kick sound, really subtle in the background, and quite a heavy sort of sub note over the top of it as well. Hi-hat wise, we've got a very different sound to what I usually use. It was really nice going back onto my old beats because I had loads of sounds which I just don't use anymore, so it was kind of like playing with someone else's drum packs or something like that. It's really cool. So I was like, oh, these sound pretty nice. So I've got this hi-hat sound, which is kind of somewhere in between a shaker and a hi-hat, I think. And a snare is quite nice and punchy. And what I did is chop the end right down, so it's a really, really punchy, short sound. I always tend to do that with my snares. I just like that sound. I like that punchiness, and I think it always seems to work well with lo-fi music as well. So let's go into pattern select, and we're going to go to bank E, so it's the same bank as the samples. I've already had a go at this beat just to make sure it worked for the video. So 1, 2 and 3 are being used, so I'm going to use 5, 6 and 7. And I've got my time/BPM set to 78 there, as you can see. So I've worked out that that's the tempo for it. So if you want to go ahead and do that, what I do is play the beat. I finger drum the beat outside of pattern select, and I use the tap tempo. So I hit the hi-hat in that tempo, and then I use the tap tempo to get the correct BPM. So we've got the right BPM, and the first thing is a 2-bar loop. So let's go to record 5. We've got the click, which I need for now. And length is set to 2, so we're good. Quantize is off, and I'm actually going to set that to 8. And what I'm going to do is record a hi-hat. So here we go. Okay, that's worked perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is turn the click track off because it's a horrendous sounding sound. So to do that, start level end, and just turn that all the way down. Okay, so we're happy with that. We've got the hi-hat, and now I'm going to do the kick and the snare. So you hit record again, and 5's not actually, it looks like 5's not available, but you can still press it. So I'm going to press it, and I'm going to hit record again, and that means you can re-record over the loop. So for this one, I'm going to make sure quantize is off, and I'm going to do the snares. And remember, if you want to rehearse stuff, record, hit the pad, record, and then once it starts playing, just press record again. And now you can rehearse stuff. It won't actually record and it says rehearse. Look, so I can rehearse what I want the kick to sound like. So what I'm going to do for the kick is I'm going to record the first kick note of the 2-bar loop with quantization on it. So I'm going to put quantize 4 on it. So that's actually an old Dilla technique. You quantize the first kick of the loop and then you don't use quantize for the rest of it. So you know that that 1 is always going to hit exactly on the beat. So it kind of brings the loop back around nicely and finishes it off nicely. So I use 4 for that because 4 is the lowest you can go. So I want it to get exactly on that point. So now what we should have is 1 kick, all the hi-hats and all the snares. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, perfect. So now I need to do the rest of the kicks. Okay, I pressed the wrong pad there, so we need to go ahead and delete that one. So this is actually useful to show you guys. I pressed 5 then when I was recording, which was one of the samples. So record 5 because we're on the 5th pattern, record, and then when it's playing, you press delete and you can see it says erase. So you can hear the sound which I'm getting. I don't want that sound, so what I'm going to do is hold 5. And there we go, that's erased that sound. Right, so let's go ahead and record the rest of those kicks. Now we've got that little error out of the way. So record is armed again, 5 again, record, and quantize off. Okay, so far so good. We've got a 2-bar loop, we've got sub in it, and we've got the right pattern that we want. So now I need to do the chops, and the chops are just 6 and 3, I believe. So let me just double check by going out of pattern select. This is what's good about recording the pattern on the same bank as your samples, is you can flip between them really easily. So I can go here and check. So it's 5 and 3, so I would have been wrong. And then I can just hit pattern select and I'm back to the patterns for this beat. So it's super handy to keep them in the same banks. Right, so we need 5 and 3 laying down now. This is where it can get tricky. You can start getting the gap at the end of the loop, so it might take a few passes, but this is the point where you just have to be really patient with the pattern sequencer on the SP. So let's give it a go and see if we get lucky first time round or not. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm actually going to use quantize on these as well. So record 5, quantize. I'm going to set the quantize to 4 again and see what that sounds like. So you can experiment around with the quantize on your samples because it can help you to not get that little gap at the end of the loop. So I found that 4's been working well for me, but it will depend on the pattern of the chops that you're doing. So experiment around. You've got from 4 all the way to 32, and you've got the swung ones as well. Down at the bottom here, look, you've got swung 16, swung 8 or swing 8. So I'm going to try this on 4 and see what results we get. Okay, so there's actually a gap in the middle, which is the first time that's ever happened to me. The end sounds perfect, but there's a gap in the middle. So I'm going to have to go ahead and re-record that. So I'm going to have to do the delete technique. So record, 5, record. And as soon as this starts, we can hold the delete. Right, so this time I'm going to actually put the click back on as well to give me that count in, which will help a little bit, I think. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done the wrong sample again there, so I'm going to have to jump it in and delete the one that I don't want. Okay, so hopefully I can just put the second one over the top of that now. Okay, so I'm actually happy with that. I think that's pretty much as close as it's going to get with the loop without spending hours and hours trying to get it right. So now that I've got that first pattern down, I can start making some variations. So I'm going to copy pattern 5, so function copy 5, and I'm going to copy that to pad 6. And I want to do a little pause at the start of the bar, so let's go ahead and delete the hi-hats and the kick up until the first snare. That's what I want to do. So record 5, record, and we need the click on actually. This will help. So that's quite a quick movement. I just held them on the bits that I wanted to delete them, and this is the result that I've got for that, which is exactly what I want. So now if I cue those two things together, okay, perfect. We've got the gap as well. And now what I want is one without any drums at all. So let's copy again and record 7, record. Okay, just wanted to definitely make sure everything had gone there. So these aren't in the right order that I want now. So what I'm going to do is use the exchange feature. So I'm going to put the one without any drums at the start. So let's do function exchange. And then I'm going to exchange these two as well. So I've got the samples without the drums, just the normal regular loop, and then we've got the one with the pause at the start as well. Obviously, you can go to town on how many variations you want in the loops, how many layers you want, etc, etc, but hopefully for this example, this is enough. So I'm basically there with a full song now, so let's go through that once and just see what it sounds like. Okay, and that is essentially it for the pattern sequencer. I've made 3 variations of the same loop. I had a little bit of difficulty with playing the wrong notes, but it was easily resolved using the delete feature. And also, I got really lucky with the gap on this one. So it happened in the middle of the loop, just re-recorded and used quantize. So if you're struggling and getting those little gaps at the end of the loops, which are super, super annoying, they can be solved with the quantize by the sound of it. The chops that I used did have a slight gap, which I didn't like in the middle. See if you can hear it. Let me turn the volume back up for you guys. Right here. There's a little overlay which doesn't sound quite as smooth as I'd want it to. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is for that beat. I think I could probably go in and time stretch those a little bit and make it a bit better, but this video is already getting a little bit long, so I could do a little bit more work on those loops to get them absolutely perfect. But I think, generally speaking, that's not too bad of a sounding beat. So yeah, the sub sounding really nice with that kick, and the guitar is something different as well, different from the jazzy stuff that I usually do. So yeah, really happy with the sound of that beat. Don't think there's really anything else to note on the pattern sequencer there really, apart from I may go back and layer in some rapper sounds or some sort of foley's just to pad out the overall sound of the beat. But then what I do is just run a line out now, which if you watched the video the other day, I just literally go from the line out in the back of this straight into the back of my tape deck, and then just do exactly how I did the demonstration for you guys, but press record on my tape deck. So that's how I've been bouncing things out. Also recommend that if you're doing that, you could use your phone as a timer as well, just to give you an idea of how long the track actually is, because it's confusing when it's just a loop going around. You've no real concept of how long the track has actually been going on for. So I usually have my phone next to me with the timer, and obviously like all lo-fi beats, I tend to make them around 1 minute to 1 minute 20 long. Can get a bit too repetitive if it's any longer than that, really. So yeah, that's my whole process on the pattern sequencer. Okay guys, that's it for this one. I hope this was useful for you to see the process that I'm using to make beats with the pattern sequencer. As I said, you do need to be a little bit patient with this one, but you can get the results if you just be a little bit persistent. And yes, experiment with the quantize as well, because that really has helped me to get rid of those little gaps at the end of the loops. So really appreciate you watching, guys. If you've got any questions, as usual, just answer them below. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, if you saw that, if you can leave a comment and leave a thumbs up, it is actually really helping my videos get to new people. So yesterday, I asked you guys to do that for me. Thank you very much for doing it. I got loads of new subscribers off the back of that video, so huge thank you for doing that. And also a massive welcome to the new subscribers as well. I hope you're enjoying the content. Feel free to leave a comment below. And yeah, I hope this helps you see my process in more detail. This is the process I'm using all the time at the moment to make beats, and I'm really enjoying it. I really am enjoying the challenge of getting beats down in the pattern sequencer, and they also sound pretty nice as well. So yeah, when I bump those onto tape, they have a really nice quality to them. Early next year, I'm definitely going to be getting a new release on Spotify, and I'm going to make them all with the pattern sequencer. So that's going to be an interesting project. I'm really excited about that one. So stay tuned for that. There'll be an announcement, obviously, when that's available to listen to. And yeah, I can't wait to get sampling and laying down some patterns with the SP. Thanks for joining me again, guys. I'll be back with content very soon. Keep making beats. Peace.